Hello and good morning and happy Thursday. I'm with New Streaming Network, WGSN-DB Going Solo Network Radio with Welcome to Your Health Vibes with Elana. I'm your host, Elana, and today my journey is to raise your heart, body, and soul vibes to the next level so you can transform your life today. And today, our topic is self-care isn't selfish, practical strategies with the one, the only, my girl, my dot sister, Alicia. Woo! Come on down.
Well, good morning. What an introduction that was.
Right. Good morning.
Good morning.
I am so happy to have you here. I cannot wait for the world to get to know you. So I know you. Could you maybe tell us a little bit about you?
Yeah, absolutely. Perfect. So I'm Dr. Alicia Miller. I am a licensed psychologist and the founder of Miller Psychological Services. I specialize in psychological evaluation for children and adolescents. I help families better understand conditions such as autism, ADHD, learning differences, emotional and behavioral concerns. I also evaluate adults that might be exploring things later in life, such as ADHD or learning differences. So my practices are, I have two, one in Arizona and one in California, and California is my new one. I know, and I'm so excited about it. So just opened in Cerritos. So I'm able to serve both the LA County and Orange County areas. I'm super stoked about that.
Yes.
Obviously right now I'm brand new, so I don't really even have a very long wait list. So give me a call if you need any support. Yay! I think what I really like to put out there though is my practice is a little bit different. My focus is a little bit different because I just want to make sure that everybody feels understood and supported throughout my evaluation process. So I do look at diagnostics, but I also really focus on allowing the family and the individual to understand what's going on and really support that family dynamic.
I love that. That really does. That's why you really stand out, is because it's not about just getting the clients. You really show up for them, which is so hard because I feel everybody kind of nowadays, they just want a client and they just want something to show up. But what I've always loved is you go so deep and you really want to show up for them. And that's what's so beautiful of making you so different.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad that's coming through because that's truly who I am as a person, and that's what I want to do. So I've always shared with my patients, my clients, my families, that just because the evaluation's over doesn't mean that our relationship is over. So they have an access to a messaging portal to meet at any time. So they can always send me a message. They have my cell phone, so they can always text my number, my business line, and I will certainly be a part of their lives going forward. So anything I can do to help, that's what I'm here for.
I love that. So is this something that you've always wanted to do? I love stories and, so many people can relate. Could you tell us your story?
Yes, absolutely. So as far as, is this something I've always wanted to do? Surprisingly, yes. I knew when I was really young, I wanted to be a psychologist. I didn't know what it entailed. So I just knew I wanted to help people. It was either a psychologist or the first woman president. That was between the two. I wasn't really sure which one. So when I went to college, I actually ended up in an education program. So I got my undergraduate degree in elementary education, then moved into special education, then school psychology, and then a licensed psychologist. So I always knew I was going to be in a helping profession. I loved psychology, but at the, like when you graduate from high school, kind of done with school and I kind of just wanted to go to college, have fun, get a bachelor's degree and be done. That's when I just, maybe I'll just go into education. Maybe psychology is a little bit out of reach. I wasn't quite in the mindset to do that. But the more that I was in school, the more I'm like, this isn't what I want to be a psychologist. So I went back. I continued to go back till I finally got my doctorate in 2018. Took me a while to, with family and everything to find the time, but I did. And I'm so glad that I did because I'm at the point now where I can help families at a whole different level. And when I had my daughter, my first daughter, she's actually the one that really changed the trajectory for me. and really helped me to focus in on the family dynamic and the caregiving, because so she has multiple disabilities. So actually her story, let me start at the beginning of her story. Again, my first pregnancy, I didn't really know what to expect.
Right.
This was an awful pregnancy. And I really had no idea how bad it was until I had my second child. And I was like, that was a breeze. Like my first one was awful.
Yeah.
But I ended up like multiple doctor appointments, 14 ultrasounds. I was on bed rest early in my first trimester with her. It was a rough pregnancy. When she was born, she was actually born via emergency C-section. And it was 30 hours of labor, emergency C-section. They came to me after, one of the nurses came to me after she was born and said, I just need you to know, we think she has Down syndrome and we're going to do some genetic testing. And at that point I was like I'd been in labor for 30 hours. I was so out of it. Like, okay.
You trying to do everything.
Yes. Yeah. So I honestly didn't think anything of it, because I was like, if she has Down syndrome, she has Down syndrome. It's great.
Hey, you're gonna no matter what.
Yeah, exactly. So then she hands her to me and I look at her and the girl has like 2 foreheads because she'd been stuck in my birth canal. Like she was swollen. And I honestly looked at that and I was like, they think she has just like her eyes were puffy and like her whole face. I was like, they just think that there's something going on based on some birth trauma maybe, or I really had no idea. So I just totally blew it off. So then they took us back to my room. I was nursing and she turned blue. And so she was swooped away from me, resuscitated. We didn't see her again that night. And the next morning we saw her and we also met her cardiologist. So we discovered really early that she had a congenital heart defect and she was going to require multiple heart surgeries throughout her life. So everything at that point kind of just went into a tailspin. We brought her home on a lot of medical equipment. We had obviously a lot of appointments, a lot of follow-ups.
Right.
And life kind of changed for us. So I still have a wonderful husband, same husband. He's so phenomenal. But he was
happy.
He was a firefighter and his schedule was a 48-96. So he was gone for 48 hours and home for 4 days, which was great. Yeah. But during those 48 hours, it was all me. And I learned how to put an NG tube down into her stomach. I had to learn about oxygen. I had to learn about pulse ox machines, all sorts of medical equipment and medications and things. So it was a lot. It was a lot on me as a new mom and then a mom of a medically complex child.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot. But I learned. We had a really unfortunate day where Brooklyn had aspirated medication. Of course, Scott was at home. My husband was at home. Brooklyn had to be airlifted to the hospital. And she was 2 months old. And that is actually where she ended up staying and having her first open heart surgery at 2 months. Wow. So it was pretty heavy. Then we were in recovery. She was recovering she was on day 4 of recovery. She was still intubated. And when a child has open heart surgery, the rule of thumb is you want them to be extubated after 24 hours. You really don't want them to continue to be intubated for that long. So things were starting to happen as far as conversations with doctors about possible medical interventions, like tracheotomies, things like that were starting to get really scary for us.
That's a lot.
So it was a lot. And that was actually the day that we met the geneticist. And the geneticist came in and said, have you received the results of the genetic study yet? We said, I honestly hadn't even thought about it. I just remember like way back, they were going to test her for Down syndrome. I didn't even think about it. She said she doesn't have Down syndrome. And I was like, I know.
have told you that.
I know. Thanks. And I was ready to just like walk away, but she was like, but what we did find is she has something called Smith-Magenis syndrome. Now, I at this time was a school psychologist. I'd been in the mental health field. I had not heard of it. I had no idea what Smith-Magenis syndrome is. There was only about 700 people in the world that had it when she was diagnosed. So there wasn't a lot of information out there. So I asked the geneticist, like, can you tell us what this is? And she said, honestly, there's not a lot of information. I have one patient that has it. Be prepared for her to stick things up her nose and in her ears and have learning disabilities.
Yeah. Thank you for the explanation. That's so pretty.
And I'm looking at my little baby in the hospital bed who's still intubated, and I'm terrified for her medical future,
Yeah.
And I was just like, what are you talking about? So I asked her, so what are we expecting here? Can you give me a little bit more information? She basically said, come see us when she is out of the hospital. Make an appointment when she's out of the hospital, and we'll get into it a little bit deeper. But in the meantime, don't Google it. So guess what Scott and I did?
Like, really?
I know. Which now that I did Google it, I understand why she said don't Google
it.
It was coming from a place of protection, I think, for us.
Yeah.
So I get it. But also, when you find out there's something going on with your child, of course you're going to want to know everything, right?
Exactly.
So we were staying in a hotel across the street from the hospital. Mm-hmm. I remember just bawling hysterically as we left her room all the way across, like through the ICU, like down the elevator, and everybody's just looking at me like something's going on. I remember seeing our nurse, or Brooklyn's nurse, run into her room to make sure she was okay. But regardless, so we went back to the hotel, started Googling. Elena, the things that we saw were awful. I mean, it was video after video of adults having absolute meltdowns, just huge meltdowns, self-harming, being aggressive toward other people, a lot of kids individuals that were nonverbal, just truly scary stuff. Brand new parents. Like I had no idea that we were expecting to have any challenges. So I just kept searching until I found one video that was a young lady in Florida. She was cheering with her high school team, and she was having the best time. Like she was loving her life, and that's how I had to end it. I was like, that's it.
Yeah, that's her. That's gonna be
her. That's hope. That's what we're striving for, and that's where we're gonna go. So I was like rejuvenated. Scott was rejuvenated at that time. We're like, okay, there's hope. This is what we're going to do. We're going to get her out of the hospital. And that's what we're striving for, cheering at the high school team, right? Or the high school game.
Yeah.
Next couple of years, we saw the other side. We saw a lot of dysregulation, a lot of self-harm, cognitive delays, speech delays. It was rough. The first few years were really, really rough. And there was one day in particular that I will never forget. Scott and I were both home, thank goodness. Yeah. Brooklyn woke up just really dysregulated. And she was screaming from the second she woke up to the second she went to sleep at night. She was having massive meltdowns. She was headbanging. She headbanged the sliding glass door we ended up having to move to an apartment because the medical bills were so high. We lost our house and I had to sell my car. So we were dark times financially too. It was rough. But we had a place to live. So we moved to an apartment, but that apartment was getting absolutely destroyed. So I was worried she was going to break that sliding glass door. She had thrown her lunch all over. So there were like peas and carrots everywhere and just like ground into the carpet. We did everything we could. We took her for rides. We did everything possible. And we just could not get her to a place of regulation. So Scott and I just sat down and we just like vented. And it was
worse. Like, I mean, that's so much. And, coming into this as new parents and is very understandable and so overwhelming just to even hear these things and then look it up and experience it.
Exactly. And I think it was a little bit of the realization that hope that we once had was met with maybe some pause. So, we still have that hope, but we are still going to experience what we saw in those videos.
Right.
Yeah. Because we have been. And we just let loose. It was the biggest, most disgusting pity party that you've ever seen. It was, I don't understand. I did everything right with my pregnancy. How many people do I know that use substances, that didn't care about their pregnancy, that their children are fine? And why is it that ours is not okay? And financial struggles, we're both professionals. We both went, in pursued careers, and now we're stuck living in an apartment. And I don't understand what's just awful. Just
going down
that deep, dark rabbit hole, right?
Yeah.
And at the end, we both looked at each other and said, I don't feel better. That wasn't helpful.
Oh, no. Yeah.
So at that point, we were like, we're not doing that ever again. Like we're going to try to find the positive in every day. We're going to try to find something. And as much as I would love to say every day after that was perfect and wonderful, it wasn't, but we were at least on the right track to change that, change that trajectory. And truly from that point on, it really did get better. It truly did, because our mindset made such an impact on our life. And now it's like, we have tough days, but we are able to use some strategies that I've used along the way to really make things that much better and that much easier to get through. So that's really where my passion comes from when it comes to helping families, because I've seen these families come into my office and I know exactly where they're at. So I want them to know that I get it. I'm walking with them. I am walking this path with them. And not only am I there, I'm holding their hand through this, because it's tough. And if I can share any nugget at all, I would love to. Any sort of a nugget that might be able to help them. That's where my passion comes.
And I love it because you're not just spewing out information because you're like, oh, here, I'm a psychologist. I know it. You've lived it. You've walked it. And that's what I love, is like the way that you can show up. You can relate, which is so beautiful. And you don't just leave them. Like, I think so many times it's so hard when we go to these appointments and things, and after you see them, it's done. And it's like, bye. And you just had this intimate, and there's so many things going on, and you feel kind of abandoned of, all right, my time is done. I love how you show up for your clients. I love that it's not just, all right, I worked with you. Bye, Felicia. I'm done with you,
Right. I know. We've been there too. And honestly, we've been there with medical providers with Brooklyn too, where it's like, we've worked with them for so long, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, she's stable now. So
right.
Yeah.
It's like, I know. Yeah. I want to give a shout out to Brooklyn. I love you, Brooklyn. And to Kat too. Kat.
Yeah. Both at school, both doing great.
Yes. Oh, I love it. So with all this, there's so much. How did you take care of yourself without feeling, our topic is self-care isn't selfish. So many times we think it's selfish because you're putting yourself in front of someone else, or your child, or your husband, or, family and all that. What saved you? Or like, can you give us some nuggets, or, talk about some things that, helped you get through this and help someone else? Because you have so many good nuggets.
I hope so.
I know so.
So I think honestly, the most impactful for me when I was first starting out were micro breaks. Because I think one of those things that I was always looking for was a day off. Like, I just need a break. I just need a day off. I need a vacation, a date night, something that was just so big that it was almost unattainable for me at the time, because Brooklyn was medically unstable and so behaviorally challenging. We couldn't get respite care, or we couldn't get, support to watch her. So I would just like give up, and, people would tell me, you really need to take care of yourself. And I'd be like, yeah, I would love to. I would love to, but tell me how. Tell me how. Because it wasn't feasible to get the full day off. But what I found was a micro break was so valuable and so important. It doesn't have to be this big. It can be 2 seconds. It can be 1 minute. It's just enough to help your body recenter and just give yourself that moment of resilience, that moment to take a breath. So simple things like before I would walk into her room in the morning to get her up, or, because who knows what I was going to enter into. I just had to prepare myself.
Yeah.
So I would have my hand on the doorknob and I would just do some breathing. I would make time to just breathe, to center myself, to be able to be there and be present for her. Because if I was already wound up, she was going to feel that. And then we were just going to engage in this back and forth starting from the second she woke up. So breathing, even just for a few seconds. My big thing now that I still do is my shower time. I typically, knock on wood, get my time to shower. So during that time, I play Apple Music as loud as possible.
Yes.
May or may not sing and dance in the shower.
I sure hope you do. Dance and sing.
Totally.
I love doing that too. One of my favorite things.
So great, right? It just starts your day off on such a positive aspect, right? Like a positive note. So I love it so much. So I still do that. That was something that was like, it set me off on a positive note. I was able to listen to the music I wanted to listen to, belt out a few songs. And then by the time I got out of the shower, I was like, ready, let's do this day.
I love that. I think, with my show, it's called your health vibes. It's what vibe, what energy, and how you can show up. And so I love that. Exactly. Starting your day, putting on your favorite song, and I always say too, dance naked, but you're already naked in the shower.
Okay. That just works out, doesn't it? Okay. I'm learning with my age now. I have to be careful with how much I dance in the shower. I can't. But
Yeah.
But that's something that's not unattainable, right? Everybody gets to hopefully take a shower, sometime during the day. Even just like washing your hands intentionally, like you get that 20 seconds, right? Do some breathing. Just the thing is it has to be intentional. You can't expect these things just to pop up without really trying to think about, when can I do this? When can I do some breathing? When can I listen to some songs? When can I do something? That kind of helps me.
Yeah. My sister on Stephanie, she says, I love dancing to fun music to start my day. Thanks, sister. Yeah. And then my parents, this is a big one from my parents. As we listen to this, it actually gives us the chills. We have to continually realize that we are blessed with what has happened in our life and that we really follow not all the time. We can't afford the luxury of a negative thought. It is truly a mantra that we continually try to follow. We don't intend to understand what you have gone through and what you will have to unpack the rest of your life. You're so right about self-care. It's truly a blessing to be able to do that. Keep doing, and then it got cut off. I think. That's from my parents.
Oh, they're amazing. So true though. It's so true that, everybody is walking their own journey. But I think it's safe to say we all have our story, right? We all have a different story. And I think that self-care for all of us is just so important.
It definitely is. And, maybe we could discuss a little bit more of like why we think it's selfish and how to not go into it, because it isn't selfish. And I think it's something that maybe we've been programmed or seen and certain stuff like that. So maybe we could dive a little deeper into how it is not selfish at all to do that self-care.
That's so true. And it's such a valid point, because I think a lot of times we as caregivers, we're praised for that self-sacrifice, right? Like, I don't know. Do it. And I know people truly have good intentions of like, I legitimately do not know how you do this every day. But in a way, that praise almost leads to that depletion of our mental health and our resources, right? Because it's like everybody's just saying, I don't know how you do it. I couldn't do it. And it almost leads to that thought process of, I have to do it because nobody else can do it.
Yes. Yeah. No, definitely.
I don't know. What do you think? Like,
So I think so many times too, because I'm the giver and like you, we want to give, we want to show up for others. And sometimes we sacrifice our well-being because we don't want to let someone down, or you're known as that. And I've really had to learn to, show up for myself, because in my work that I do, I give so much to others that if I don't give to myself, then I won't be able to give to anybody else. Some of my favorite things are, I love to get my nails done, my hair. I'm not a shopper, but when I do that, I feel better. Or my dad and mom always say, get up and get dressed. I do love my PJ, I do love my like casual clothes, but there is something about putting on something, feeling better, as my sister says, I say I'm a recovering people pleaser.
Me
Yep.
too. Me too.
I think we all are in some way, but it's just acknowledging it and not defining ourselves by that, of what it is. I don't know if you have any other stories too, maybe like growing up or, just now of maybe helping someone else out or, showing like maybe something, another story. I love stories. Do you have any other stories that you would like to share with us?
I just think in general, my experience with people has been nobody addresses the self-care part of things. And when I bring it up in the office, when I bring it up with parents, their shoulders just drop and they're just like, yeah, I feel seen. I've had parents cry and I want that outlet. I want them to do that. And I've had so many parents tell me that they never thought about it as something that they had control of, that
Right.
they've been able to control, that they feel like they can now be empowered and in control of their own life. And that there were some strategies that they could use. So I think that that's probably one of the best takeaways from just my experience here. Gosh, I do.
Like showing up, like asking for help. What is your thought? I think that's the hardest in this and in your process with everything with Brooklyn and all these things. Was it hard to ask for help? What showing up and what could you tell someone in this to do to never feel like alone? And of that, because I think we're so afraid of the judgment, so afraid of like, oh no, if I ask for help, then they're going to think this and that. Where do you think that comes into play?
I think boundaries are a huge issue with us caregivers, because again, we're kind of wired to always give everything we have, right? But what we forget is when you give everything you have nothing left for yourself. You have nothing left to truly give to those people who need you, right? So you're like depleting yourself. So I think a couple of things. I absolutely was that person that could never ask for help. I couldn't. That made me feel like I wasn't strong and I wasn't doing my job. And it's the opposite of the truth, because the moment that somebody does, a pick up from school for you, for me, like, my mother-in-law is amazing. Since we've moved out here, she'll pick up my daughter from school. It seems like a small task, but it gives me an extra 15 minutes of my day for me just to breathe before Brooklyn gets home off the bus.
I love that. And seeing how much it makes a difference, because, I think it's hard to ask, but like 15 minutes is more than anything to you, like people think like, oh, it's only 15 minutes, but that 15 minutes will charge you. You can show up that way, and I think too, people enjoy helping others. For me, like if you ever need me to pick up Brooklyn or the girls, like, I would do that in a heartbeat. I think giving someone else that pleasure of showing up. I don't have kids, so being an auntie and knowing like I get to do that. So I think really it helps out others as well, because when you ask someone, then you can acknowledge them as something else too.
Absolutely. Because think about how much we get fulfilled from helping others, from being there. It's like, oh my gosh, I love that feeling of like walking away saying, gosh, I really made a difference in their life today. Well, we need to allow other people to do that for us, because we need it, first of all, and we need to fulfill them. I love that thought process, and it's really giving to them. So help me help you, as Brooklyn tells me. Help me help you.
I think that's such a good mantra, because we all need help, and it's okay. And it does it, as we said, we try to categorize, oh, if you ask for help, we don't want to put someone in a box. You're not defined because you ask that. And I think society and so many things are growing up, or generations, that's all they know, or how to show up is doing it yourself.
Exactly. Because you can rely on yourself, right? You can trust yourself. You're going to do it the right way. But you know what? They can always say no. People are allowed to say no. And I think that's kind of transitioning a little bit, but I do feel like that's my new mantra is no is a complete sentence. So in talking about boundaries, we ourselves can say no. And you don't have to explain yourself to anybody. You don't have to give anybody a reason. If it's not going to fit within your life at that moment, no.
Oh, I love that. Boom. No. Sorry. I love that. Maybe we can expand just a couple more minutes on that of, learning to say no and not feeling that guilt, because that is self-care for yourself to say no. And, someone may be going through this. What can you tell them? Like, I know we did it, but maybe where's this coming from?
Well, and I think it goes back to being a people pleaser, right? We don't want to say no. If somebody asks us for something, we want to be able to oblige. But if it's going to be a detriment to us and our mental health and our functioning during that time, then we have to learn to say no. But it doesn't mean it's no forever. So, something that I've learned with Brooklyn in particular is I can't say the word no to her because it's an immediate trigger. I have to rephrase it. So a lot of times I'll say, you know what? Let's talk about that tomorrow or another day, and really putting it out there. Like, I'm not potentially saying no forever, even though I'm really hoping you forget about it. In most cases, hoping it's moving on. But for others, like, you can just say it's not going to work for me right now, but you can always leave the door open for another day. But it's okay to just say no. And, and I do think that Brooklyn has learned that, I'll tell her, I want to help you. I want to be supportive, but, right now I can't. Mm-hmm. And I think that's also something that everybody, both my kids, I need to make sure that they know how to do that with life, and they know how to accept that. So.
Right. And with all this, having a husband and all that, how, can you maybe give a few little things of like how to really maintain that? Because sometimes we lose ourselves and then we can't give to that, to our relationship and whatnot. Is there any like little tidbits or nuggets that you can kind of expand on for a second about just a marriage, of what it does?
I feel like that's a whole separate podcast, but
that's why she will be in, but we just will add with a little nugget of this, and then we can continue because she will be back on, everybody.
I would love to. So, I do think that it's another thing that we just have to truly be intentional and make sure that we find time for each other. So what we've discovered in our marriage is when chaos is happening, which is during waking hours, pretty much, we can't try to have an actual conversation. We know in our home, we're going to get interrupted 1,000 times by children or animal. Like, something is we're not going to be able to have that conversation. So we just have to accept that, because I think trying to squeeze in something like some relational time, conversational time, in a time that's not feasible environmentally, it's just going to add to the stress and the chaos of the world. So what we do instead is we're not even going to try to have a conversation until everybody else is in bed. When the children are in bed, now, before he's got about 2 minutes before I fall asleep. So we know. We have that conversation. But it really is working within the time frames and the boundaries of your home, right? And what works for you. So those days that he's at home and I'm at home during the day, we take advantage of those days. They're very few and far between, but we make sure that we find time and we schedule lunch together. So we'll schedule lunch. I'm going to be working and doing reports and whatever it is that I'm doing, but I'm going to stop and I'm going to make sure that I have time for lunch for him. And that's when we can actually rekindle or like
making that time and scheduling it, because that is so important to have, even if it's 2 minutes even. And what I love you say is being present. If we're giving to everybody else and doing, then we can't fully show up for ourselves, which I absolutely love. So we're kind of not running out of time, but it's going to come to a close, and I don't want it to, because we could be on this forever. Just a couple last things. Any other last nuggets that you want to share? Any words of advice, wisdom? And also, once again, can you tell everybody how they can work with you?
Yes. Gosh, there's a couple things that we didn't get to that I really think are important. Are finding humor in everyday.
I mean, we can talk a few more minutes. We have, if you want to bring in a few more of we do have time for a few more nuggets. So if that's, yeah.
So I think that one of the things was I really had to, again, be intentional about seeking happiness and seeking humor, because that's really, laughter in general is a resilience tool, right? So that's something that helps to rebalance those stress hormones. So finding time to laugh about something. So I started with like funny shows, social media. I now you gotta be careful, but I would find something where my algorithm would change to just like comedians and humor and funny things all the time. So I enjoyed getting on social media because of that. And now my life has kind of turned into constant comedy. So my Facebook page, I try to document those stories. They might be stories of hardship. There might be stories of like, it started off as a really stressful situation, but now I have reframed it to find some sort of humor in that. And I like to share that because now I benefit from my Facebook memories of just like story after story after story that are hysterical. So, and I laugh. Oh, that's how I start my day. I start my day going through my Facebook memories. Just okay, what have my children done in the last 13 years or whatever I've been on Facebook? So things like that are really great. Just yesterday, I reshared a Facebook memory of Brooklyn. I was trying to get her to try on some new clothes because all she wants to wear is t-shirts. So I was like, can we just get like a blouse or something? So I was trying to get her to try on all these different clothes. And she tries on one shirt. She said, hell no. And
I so see her saying that.
It's like her new favorite saying, I think. I was like, Brooklyn, we have to use nice words, polite words. And she said, I'm sorry, mommy. Hell no. No, thank you. Totally forgot about that, but I put it on a Facebook post. So it's like, I mean, the struggle of trying to get this girl to try on clothes, like it was a stressful moment for me. But when she said that, I was like, oh my gosh, it's hysterical. So I have to share those things because I'm hoping to give other people something to laugh at, in addition to being selfish and like, this is my way. This is my self-care of like documenting all the funny things that happen in my world. So humor, gratitude every morning when I wake up and every night before I go to sleep. I think of something to be grateful for. There is always something to be grateful for. And that is helping to rewire my brain and making sure that I have that kind of mindset shift of positivity. Because, you know, from the deep, dark ages of like cycling into self-pity to now, I don't do that anymore because I've reframed my mind to always find the humor and the positivity in every situation. And it's just, life is just so much easier.
Oh, I love that. I love that so much. And so how can people work with you or how to get a hold of you? Like, what's the best way? We want the world to call you. Get a hold
awesome. I'd love to meet everyone. So my website is www.millerpsych.org. It's Miller, MILLER, my phone number, 562-388-3308. So they can give me a call if they would like to schedule an appointment with me. That's probably the best way to go about it. Just give me a call and we'll talk about what it is that you're looking for, making sure I'm the right provider for you, and then getting you scheduled in Cerritos, California, hopefully, because that's the one that I'm focusing on.
Yeah. I love it. Get it. Oh, that's so amazing. I'm so glad that you're here. And she will definitely be back on the show. Wanted to give a quick shout out to Joe Porter for the earrings. Thank you so much. I love them. And one more thing, 31 years ago yesterday, your girl had her bat mitzvah and I have my dress on today. Dun, dun, dun.
You're amazing. I have nothing from that long ago. Nothing.
It's stretchy. It's stretchy. That's the only reason why.
I don't care how stretchy it is. It's not fitting me from that long ago. So good for you. Good for you.
Well, Alicia, thank you so much for being here. Your stories, everything. Everybody, she will be back on. So we will be able to have her again. Reach out to her. I'm Elana with Your Health Vibes with Elana. You can reach me at ef11ca@gmail.com. My website is Your Health Vibes. Joining me on Thursdays bi-weekly, 12 p.m. Eastern and 9 a.m. Pacific to begin raising your vibration, heart, body, mind, and soul. And we are new streaming network, WGSN-DB Going Solo Network, and we will be signing off. Thank you all for being here. I love you all and have a beautiful rest of your day. Bye for now.
Bye. Bye.